Good morning, Tracy. We want to welcome you to Ministry with Coffee.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
Well, I am happy that you are here because you are part of a mission that I really, well, that's dear to my heart too, because I was a single mom. And we're going to be talking about mini mansions and how you got started with mini mansions. And so I'm just going to let you take the mic and kind of share a little bit of your background and how you got hooked up with mini mansions.
All right. Well, I was a single mom, like you said. In fact, I've been a single mom twice, which that'll be part of my story.
Mhm.
Um, I was married. I have two daughters that are 20 and 22 now, but I was married to their dad for 13 years. And he left when the girls were 7 and 9. Um, we weren't happy really, but when I said, till death do us part, I really believed that. And I thought that he really believed that and meant that. My thought was, you either are miserable or you work on it. And I was always trying to work on it. And so, anyway, when he left, and I did not feel loved for 13 years. And I didn't have the best self esteem. So when he left, I was super vulnerable.
Mhm.
And let's see, I believe that was final in August, and I was married again by February.
Oh, wow.
And that was, I was swept up. Someone made me feel more loved than I'd ever felt in my life. I felt desired. I felt like, oh my gosh, this is the best thing. And I had done everything right according to what the church says the first time, before you get married and everything. And I was like, well, look what that got me. And I just basically, I always say I twisted off. I just did everything the opposite. I got married quickly. People tried to tell me not to. And so, anyway, so that was the thing. And at that time, I thought, it's like deep in my, I knew to some extent this wasn't right, but I was also telling myself, God brought this man to me. When
Mhm.
your 7-year-old daughter looks at the man that you think is the best thing ever, that loves you better than anyone, looks at him and says, "You filled a hole in my heart uh, that I didn't have filled before," that does something to you. And so
Mhm.
I felt like in some ways that I was doing something for us. I thought that I was trying to stop the bleeding and the pain.
Mhm.
And even though I knew, there was tugging of, I knew there was things that happened. I know God was saying this isn't the right thing. But
Mhm.
I just felt like if I just hurry and get married, God will bless this, because
Mhm.
God wants marriages to work.
Mhm.
And anyway, so that ended up, I was in that marriage for 3 years, but it was an abusive marriage. It was emotionally abusive, and it affected all of us. So my decision obviously had a lot of ramifications, but certainly to my youngest and me. I was fine with me being hurt. As moms, we're often like, it's okay. But when you realize it's affecting your kids,
Mhm.
that makes you make changes. So, through a lot of help from people, believers that were for me, I was able to get out of that. Here's where the mini mansions piece comes in. So, I was scared of myself after I was divorced the second time, because I was afraid I would do the same thing that I did the first time.
Mhm.
So I knew that I was vulnerable. I knew that I was lonely. And I knew it wasn't good what I did before. And I was like, how can I make sure I don't do the same thing? And I go to Stonewater Church in Granbury. And at that time, it feels like at that time we're talking about community a lot more. I don't know if that's true, but maybe it's just that it stood out to me more. And I kept hearing that from the front. And I was like, well, I'm a single mom. What kind of groups are there for me? Like, y'all talk about families and families. And I
Yeah.
was like, I was frustrated. And I was close to Joey's wife, Lisa, at the time. Joey and Lisa were huge supporters of mine and helped me a lot. And I said to Lisa, what about me? What kind of group is there for me? I offered to facilitate something myself. I said, I just need to have people around me. And I don't know what all transpired, but it wasn't long after that there was our single moms ministry at Stonewater Church
That's so good.
was started. And I will say that was a huge lifesaver for me. And so one of the founders, Molly, was Molly Williams. She was one of the leaders. And so that's my first, just kind of a taste, getting to know her. And then a little while later, I'm not sure the sequence of things, but they started Mini Mansions. So I was familiar with it, but not much. And but anyway, so that was just kind of in the back of my mind. I wasn't thinking, oh, I want to work for them at this time, because I was in the wilderness. And so, but I got women around me that got me. And it's so important in anything, any area of our life. People don't understand you unless they've been in that, and nobody's story is exactly the same, but they can have a clue of what you're going through and what it's like to try to be a single mom. And so that,
Understand the loneliness too. That loneliness
yes,
is real. I mean, and people don't understand how hard that is.
yeah. And trying to discipline your kids when you don't have anybody else to say, are we doing the right thing? And, and the biggest thing for me that I was worried is that I didn't want to start dating the wrong kind of people. And I'm not saying I did it perfect the second time either, but at least I had my people, that I could talk to about it, and they could say, what the heck are you doing? So
Go this way, go this way.
yeah. I've been married now to an amazing man for 4 years that God brought into my life, and he was a stayer in his marriage too. So both of us wanted to fight for our marriage, our first marriage, and it just didn't happen. You can't make somebody do the right thing. And so we feel secure with each other because we know we were both willing to stay even when things weren't good. But anyway, so God brought him into my life. And a couple of years after that, I was thinking, I loved what I was doing, but I really wanted to be in ministry where I could actually talk about Jesus and help people who are where I had been. And so every time I would see Mike and Molly at church, I would be like, hello, when y'all decide to hire somebody else, I'm here. And I mean, I talked to him so many times. I joke now that I just bothered them until they hired me. But they ended up calling me. I've been in April, so maybe that's when this is going to be airing. But anyway, and I will have been with Mini Mansions for 2 years. So now I'm so excited because I get to help. And part of what we do is help churches start single moms ministries.
Oh, that's so good.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about that. So how do you start that? So when you go into a church, how does that look? Just share a little bit about that, because there might be a church listening today, or a pastor's wife that hasn't had that in their church and they need it. So can we share a little how that looks?
Okay, so we have had curriculum in the past that we can offer for free if that church wants it. They don't have to use that. We have some other resources, but basically we just want to bring, we're supposed to take care of orphans and widows, and we see single moms very much like widows. They've been abandoned often. Basically all the moms we help have been. I'm not saying that's always the case, but so we want to present to churches that this is something you need to be doing this in some way. And so we just want to help support them to start something. And it really just can start as a small group. It doesn't have to be some huge thing. In fact, it's probably better if it starts just kind of like a small group in a church. We will help with a kickoff event if they wanted to do like some big pizza party, or we've paid for food, to help a church do that and be there. Like if they wanted, whatever they want it to look like. I mean, I can come speak and tell a little bit about Mini Mansions, but it will be the church's group. So we're not trying to start Mini Mansions in churches. We want to help draw their people's attention to, we hope that y'all might start something because we want to have a good reciprocal relationship. And so we do have a statement of faith that we want to make sure we're like-minded as far as our beliefs go. But ideally, we help a mom. So we help, and I know you'll probably ask me more about this, but we're looking to churches to be more of the discipleship piece. So that's why we want to have be able to help moms connect with a church. So then they can become that part of that family, that church body, and they find community there. So that's the importance. And anyway, so basically it's just me talking to churches, seeing do they have somebody that would be a good, that they'd like to do this. We want to be there for them. And we're
Mhm.
even looking, what are some more things we'll be able to do to help these? We may be doing some trainings. I try
Mhm.
to help the leaders at different churches get connected with each other to brainstorm things that work and things that don't. But I mean, we're still a baby nonprofit. We just started the church, trying to help churches since I started. So less than 2 years. So there's a lot of things we're still figuring out.
That's good. So let me ask you, what does mini mansions do for a single mom? So I'm a single mom and I come to you. I'm not really, not anymore, but if I was, I would come to you and say, hey, I'm struggling. What does mini mansions offer a single mom?
Well, usually a single mom first gets involved with us for financial assistance.
Hmm.
So the best thing to do is apply online.
Hmm.
And so they would just fill out our application. It tells, they'll have an opportunity to tell, what their needs are. And we do ask for, depending on if it's a low amount of money that they need, sometimes we don't require every single thing, but we will ask for bank statements and the bill and these type of things. So they would enter, and then, our case manager, we have two case managers. One would reach out to them and schedule a time to talk to them and see if it's something that we're able to help with. So
Hmm.
no matter what we also offer resource lists. So there's many other organizations that help with things, and so we try to not duplicate
Hmm.
services.
Hmm.
So for example, we don't help with Christmas typically in
Yeah.
Hood County or Johnson County. We serve Somervell County, and sometimes we do. They have less resources, but there's an entire nonprofit in Hood County, especially, that helps with that. So we try to let them do their thing, and we support them financially. Sometimes a lot of those things like school clothes will help that organization that does it. So we try to not duplicate services. So we give them that resource list. And sometimes we're not able to help people. We do really try to invest in people that are trying, that are really ready for a hand up. Really, we're also looking for moms we can figure out what's the next step so we won't stay here, kind of thing. But you
That's
said, what do they get? So they get the financial assistance. Then we also ask them to take a budget class, virtual class.
good.
South State Bank provides that for us virtually every month. And then only in the last year, we now have budget coaches that are volunteers.
That's
And
good.
these women have, this could be a shout out to somebody who loves Jesus and loves single moms and has a heart to help with finances, especially if you've been a single mom before. These women have become great mentors. It started out more like, let me see your bank statements, let's look at a budget, but they truly are making a difference just being there to listen. So
Mhm.
we definitely need more of those. So we've asked moms if we help them do the budget class, we pair them with a budget coach, and we want them to have at least 8 meetings with that budget coach,
Mhm.
um, so that months down the line, if a mom comes back, we want to see that they've done these things that we asked them to do. It
Mhm.
used to just be they had to take the budget class, but now we've kind of upped that because you can always check a box and listen to an hour budget
Mhm.
class. So that's kind of hard. I mean, we don't help months in a row as a rule, but they may come back later and we want to see if they've really done what they're supposed to. We also have a couple of counselors that work with us that we sometimes pay for counseling for moms.
Mhm.
We're blessed to have, someone giving us a lower rate. And what else? And obviously, then we're trying to help moms get connected with the church.
I love the counseling part too. I love all of it because I think finances are important because I think a lot of them, you just don't understand. They might have had the husband took care of all the finances and they never really took care of the finances, or maybe they have never learned how to budget. They have never learned how to even balance a checkbook. I mean, how important that is, or how to save money and where to save
Yeah.
money and how to use
Yeah.
money in the best best possible way. And so I think that that's very important. So I also like that you guys don't just give them a hand out, that you give them a
Yeah.
hand up, because I think
Yeah.
that's very important too. Because also, the most of the people that do need this kind of help that truly want to change normally won't ask for it.
Yes.
Those are the ones,
That is,
that's the,
yeah.
because I didn't ever ask for it. I mean,
Mhm.
so, I mean, and I needed it.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
that my pride wouldn't, I'd work 2 jobs, 3 jobs, whatever I had to do because I just didn't want to ask. So how do
Yeah.
you reach those ones like I was?
Well, that is
I
a
see a
we
need.
try to encourage everyone that knows that mom
Yeah,
to encourage them to apply.
yeah.
That's how we really are going to get those moms. We do. I mean, many of our moms are working 2 and 3 jobs that do ask for
Mhm.
help.
Yeah,
So that's a hard thing, really. I mean, but
yeah.
you can tell the moms, I mean, the moms that are really trying to get a hand up are also, they are working 2 jobs and they are participating some other help in the community that's bettering them. Like there's an organization in Granbury called Forward Training Center,
Mhm.
and they're helping with job skills and interview skills. You see some people, or maybe this often we have moms that have previously had a drug problem and they're part of a recovery program. And
Mhm.
so it's
Yeah.
great. We have some moms inspiring stories that you can see, man, they're really taking advantage of what they can so that they can get better.
And I love that y'all have counselors too, because some of them have gone through trauma, you
I
know.
would say all.
Yeah, because anytime that you
Yeah.
go through divorce, whatever the situation is, or a loss of a husband, he passed away, that's trauma. I mean,
Mhm.
and I think even with what you were talking about with your story, because you were still dealing with trauma, it kind of left you in a place where you were open to that mistake, that marriage
Yeah.
you probably wouldn't have married had you dealt with the trauma. So I love that y'all
Yeah.
are doing the counseling because that's going to help them in a huge way to get healthy, maybe, and just come to know that Jesus is their husband and be
Mhm.
confident in that. So when they do make the decision, if when God brings that man, they're making a decision totally different because they've gotten the
Mhm.
help that they need. And they're not going to need it for finances because you guys have trained them in finances. So now they know how to take care of finances.
Mhm.
You're taking care of their emotional needs. You've given
Mhm.
them a mentor support groups and you're giving them other
Mhm.
supports. What a great ministry this is. Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. That's a
And
lot.
I am so passionate about handling the loneliness because obviously my story, and we have a mom that's so awesome that we're helping right now. And she's like, I keep trying to get her to get involved. And she's finally in the situation where she's going to have quote community. And I said something about, well, I'm just excited that you're going to be around these other women. And she's like, well, of course you would say that, Tracy, community. But I'm like, I'm telling you, it just is so important because you
Mhm.
just become so vulnerable when you're trying to do everything on your own.
Yeah. And even with the tribe, you're lonely. There's
Yeah,
just, because
seriously.
really, because I had a tribe like you did when I was divorced, and it was a tribe of women. They were amazing. I loved them. We did
Yeah.
Bible study together. We did things to get movies. We went to the movies together. We dinner together. So we had people to go out and do things with. But you still miss that.
100%.
Yeah, and so I understand where they are, and until Jesus kind of feels that, and then I don't know about you, but I kind of got to that place where I'm like, okay, I'm fine. I'm good now. I can be I can be single
Yeah.
and I'm good.
Yeah.
And it was when I got to that place is when God said, "Oh no, I'm not done. I have somebody for you."
Yes, you're
I just
right.
had
Yep.
I had to wait for you to be done so that I could bring
Yes. Done trying to fill your void. Yeah.
Absolutely. So tell us some glory stories about mini mansions and some things, some wins that you guys have seen.
Well, we have one mom in particular that I'm just thinking about because this is going to air after the case, but we have our gala coming up and we have a mom that's going to speak for us. And she's one of those poster child kind of thing moms. You have to hold on to all the wins. There are some discouraging things, but she has a history. She had some recovery. When she came to us, she was clean. She was living in this wonderful, we have lots of partnerships, but there's a place in Cleburne called Crazy Eight, and
Mhm.
it's a home for single moms.
Mhm.
And they have a program, they're learning and growing, and they have their own. We don't have these moms do our budget class because they're doing their thing with that. But she had gotten, clean and sober. And so she was doing their program. I think we helped her with some other things. We ended up helping her get a vehicle,
Mhm.
but also she had no teeth
Mm.
because she had
Drug.
done drugs and she'd lost all of her teeth. And it was huge. If you, it's hard to get work if you don't have teeth, and even if you could, you feel so self-conscious
Mhm.
about it. And so we partnered. We didn't do it on our own, but we helped financially with another organization. And actually, this was an individual that donated. We do a lot of different things, but anyway, so she ended up, now she has her teeth, and it was a long process. Like, it took over about a year because she had to have everything removed. She had just some healing that had to be done. And it's not been that long ago that she finally has like her permanent dentures, and she's just so excited. And she leads a Celebrate Recovery group.
Mm.
She has that vehicle that we were able to give her, but she's doing everything she can. She actually hopes to lead a nonprofit of her own someday. So she's
Awesome.
just amazing. I'm so excited for her to get to share her story.
That's so good. So before we finish up, because our time is about to come to an end, because we don't have much time, and I hate that. We're going to have to expand this, I think. So, what word could you leave with someone that's probably listening, or maybe a mom of a daughter that's a single mom? Because I know that my mom did a lot of praying for me. What kind of hope or what kind of word would you say to them to end this segment?
I would say a phrase: God is not done with your story.
Hmm. That's true.
Because I'll say real quickly that God is so good that he weaved my professional background, which is nonprofit work, with my personal,
Mm.
hard thing that I went through. And he gave me a job that is amazing. And so I went through all of that, and he put all of it together
Mm.
to be able to do this ministry. And it's so exciting to get to help other people. And God did give me an amazing man that I feel like we're partners together. So even when things seem horrible, God has an amazing way, even out of our own disobedience, even from me marrying that person that I shouldn't have. Somehow he pulled it all together to make it beautiful, which is only what he
Mm.
can do. So I would say God's not done with your story.
That's a good word. Thank you so much for sharing today. I cannot wait for the listeners to find out how to get in touch with Mini Mansion, how to get in touch with you, so that they can also start living out the call that God's put on their heart, and He wants to restore us. He wants to
Yes,
redeem. He wants to restore. And that's what He does because He's a good, good Father.
that's
So,
right.
so I'm glad that Mini Mansions is out there for them. I'm glad that you guys are partners with other ministries that are also going to help. So I just am thankful that you guys came on the program, and we just really hope that many will reach out and that you'll have even more win stories.
Yes. Thank you so much for having me.
Hello, friends. I just want to take a moment and thank you for joining us today with Ministry with Coffee. We're so glad that you're here. And I want to ask that if this has moved you or encouraged you, the story that you just listened to today, that you would like our page and that you would share our page with your friends and your family. Together, if we work together, we can share the gospel of Jesus throughout the world at one cup, one story at a time. Thank you again for your support. We are so glad that you have chosen to minister and partner with us. Thank you again.